All right. Welcome to VintageWeightsPGH. I'm Rob, and I'm here with Kaevon.
Hey.
Welcome.
Thank
How are
you.
you, sir?
Yeah, good. Good to meet you in
Bells of
person.
Steel, no stranger to Garage Gym Experiment podcast.
Yeah.
You had a great interview on there. You got a little bit into your history.
Right. Yeah.
But I needed to get some of that history on my YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Because that's what I like. I like to dig into
Right, vintage.
where did this come from?
I'm getting vintage.
Yeah, me too. So if you could, sir, go way back and how did you go from someone who just enjoyed pursuing strength to selling strength equipment?
It was probably 2008 or 2009.
Okay.
I kind of like had access to the internet really for the first time in my life. I didn't have a computer growing up.
Gotcha.
And I kind of realized that like all the muscle magazines I read when I was a kid were a lie.
That's a fair statement.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
I've read quite a bit.
Yeah, and I started getting really into kind of like real strength and conditioning. And I get my timelines mixed up a bit, but I think it was the Joe DeFranco YouTube channel.
Okay.
Do you remember DeFranco?
Yeah.
He's still around.
Yeah, sure.
And him using the Elite FTS Prowler.
Nice.
And doing Strongman Saturday, and I was like, I got to get me some of that.
Yeah.
And then I got into kettlebells too, and you couldn't really buy it anywhere. You couldn't really get it much places in the U.S., but I was in Canada, so you really couldn't get it.
Yeah.
And I was working at a fitness equipment store.
Okay.
And I told my boss, we're selling treadmills and whatever.
Yeah.
I told my boss, like, we should bring in kettlebells, we should bring in bumpers, we should bring in sleds, whatever. And he said, no, but if you want, you can buy them from me and I'll put them on my container from Asia, from
So
China.
you hitched a ride.
Yeah, and I hitched a ride.
Yeah.
And then it just like started selling them out of my Ford Fiesta and Kijiji, and I was like,
Do you have a picture of that car?
I've been trying to find one.
Because I'd love to drop a picture in here on the video, yeah.
No, I
If
didn't.
you find one, send me one.
We didn't, it was kind of pre-smartphone. I think I had a BBM with like
I'll get a stock
one
photo of a Ford
okay.
Fiesta and
And
drop
just
it
stick
in.
me in there, yeah. And then it just like organically grew. I was still in university, and finished university. Tried to get a real job, nobody would hire me. So I just kept going.
Just kept going forward with the gym equipment.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
That's very cool. So then you were here last year at Home Gym Con.
Yeah.
Bells of Steel was here. And, coming in this year, what's it been like? You're our friends to the north. You're in Canada.
Yeah, right.
Speaking from the perspective of someone in the United States, what's it like in terms of the market in Canada versus the United States and how that, works with Bells of Steel?
Okay, so like for actual market split or like in general? So
I guess I'm just speaking from a consumer standpoint.
Okay.
What people are looking for. You're selling basically the same
I
stuff.
see what you're saying. Okay, so we was there in Canada in 2009, and there's very little competition there, and people were just glad to have like somebody selling good, competent weightlifting equipment, or home gym equipment. And then I came to the States, and I was like, I had some cool stuff, like I like Commercial Power Rack, had some rollers on it, had some nice features, but it was really like, you're gonna not survive unless you double down on your design and like brand and whatever. So I think really that 2019 and then 2020, we hit the COVID.
Yeah, and that was bonkers.
But it also gave me like 2 years where all I had to do was flip our best sellers constantly.
Yeah.
And then me and Adam, I don't know if you met him here, but he's our designer. I met him in the Home Gym, Garage Gym Reviews Facebook group.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we started designing stuff from the ground up.
And it's so cool that you met him just in a Garage Gym Review Facebook group.
Yeah, I
That's
know,
really
right?
fun.
Yeah, he'd recently graduated from university, and
all this stuff that you're talking about is the history of the company and is strength history, in my opinion, because the COVID-19 gym shutdown shaped a lot of the companies that are here.
Yeah, totally.
And a lot of the people I've talked to here, the smaller companies, that's when they started.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how that affected yours as well, that you were like, well, we just got to keep going.
Yeah, so we were like, okay, we don't need to release any new products until we can cool off. And so it gave me and Adam 2 years, designed a whole bunch of stuff, and that's when we started. Our company went from, in 2019, about 6 employees, and about like whatever in sales, and then now we're at like 80.
Gotcha.
And so we blew up during COVID, but we actually have grown more since. Like we didn't drop back down.
Yeah.
We are actually higher than our COVID numbers now.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, one last question before we wrap up, because I know you're breaking down. This is just about the end of
a
Gym Con
little early.
2024.
A little early, yeah.
Well, hey, you got a lot of stuff to pack up.
Yeah,
so
we do.
I get it, man.
Yeah.
So, one last question for you, if you'd entertain it. A lot of people come in and they probably ask you, hey, what's new? What's coming out next?
Yeah.
I'm the opposite.
Yeah.
I'm the vintage weights guy.
Yeah,
I want to know,
right.
like, Ford Fiesta, what are you selling? What was some of the first stuff?
Right.
And what's still sticking around that you still sell from, 20 plus years ago?
Okay, so some of the early stuff is the classic stuff, really, like competition kettlebells. I started with those because you virtually, you virtually couldn't get comp kettlebells in Canada, or maybe one place.
Okay.
Bumpers, bars, those are stuck around.
So those are bread and butter items.
And then some things that I've seen trend out, battle ropes. I tried to get it, I mean, these were never in, so I should say they went out, but I got really into sledgehammers, like huge
You mentioned that on the Garage Gym Experiment podcast. I was in my car on a road trip to pick up some old weights listening to your interview, and I laughed out loud about how I thought this was going to hit. I thought this was the future.
But we tried to keep really niche at the start and low problems, right? Like stuff that didn't have to be fixed or parts or issue. It's just a hunk of kettlebell and that's it. Like it works or it doesn't.
I really like what you're doing. I'm curious to see some of your future products as well. So I'll stay in touch. Thanks so much.
Yeah, great meeting you.